Hey Chuck,
Yep.
what are you doing?
I am painting models because Neil said if we don't paint models, he's gonna kick us out. And it's cold out there tonight. And it's raining, and
It's gonna butt fuck us in our sleep.
hello, all you Warhammer and Warham E's. This is Chuck from Little C's um, Power Hour. Is that how it goes, Matt?
Hey, close.
Close, close. All right.
You gotta bring. So you gotta bring the energy for the opening, and then you can go back down to normal. So
Okay.
you're like,
All right.
once again, all you Warhammers and Warhammies, to the best episode to date of Strength Hammer Podcast. I am your guest, Big M, along with your host, the Warhammer hero Chuck Moore, along with son of a bitch Neil.
Actually, son of a bitch Neil actually now goes by Big M's daddy.
Big M's daddy. Oh my goodness. Well, all right.
Oh, I could have went butt fucker Neil. Would you prefer that?
Don't worry. That's the intro to this whole podcast. So that if you're listening to this far in, everybody, to episode 50 of Strength Hammer Podcast, you've already seen the best bit that Matt already did. It can't be topped.
I'll tell you right now, just as a disclaimer, no butts have been fucked in the process of making of this podcast.
That you know of.
Very true.
That I know.
Wait, I know mine's good. Matt, is yours good?
I'm good.
All right. Well then,
I mean,
unless
I'm surprised by that after that game we played together.
Unless Alex and Cole get on to disprove this. Suspect. Oh well.
By the way, Matt, there's going to be a lot of this during the podcast. By the way, so now that I have you as a captive audience, you're going to have to.
You're not coming in. I can't hear you. You're going through it.
Boy. Well, if you are listening to the audio podcast as usual, well, guess what? We got video again because fuck it, why not? Me and Neil clearly have old, barely hanging on PCs for our recording PCs, because you'll see a little stutter and a stagger, whereas Matt looks pristine because he only has one PC. Good for you, Matt. Good for you.
Hell yeah.
But episode 50, we wanted to. This is the post Adeptiwont show. And we wanted to make it a little bit bigger, so we invited everybody from the Strength Hammer podcast on. Only Matt is the most committed person outside of myself and Neil to this shindig. Cole and Dave get wrecked unless you pop on randomly later as we record. Then I rescind that statement. But till then, get wrecked.
Yeah,
we will humble them.
I want to keep going with that so bad, but I feel like I should.
So some fun news. Since everyone just saw that lovely intro, and anyone else out there that's a content creator. So whoever owns the rights to the opening music to Always Sunny in Philadelphia allows you to use that music on YouTube for this joke. So I made the intro separate. I uploaded it. Didn't make it go live. I just kind of left it separate, just to see what YouTube would do. Because if it flagged it and copyrighted it and struck it, be like, all right, can't do it. It's a shame. But popped up and said, hey, this is copyrighted. It's like, but learn more, because it's not a big deal. And I was like, well, that's weird. I clicked on it and says, this is copyrighted, but the owner of this audio allows it to be used on YouTube freely. And the only reason is they have to understand the joke. If you're making a joke where that music's entailed, it makes that joke better. So whoever owns that music, thank you. Like, you're just doing a service, not for this podcast, just in general for the world.
You are also a Warhammer hero.
You are also a Warhammer hero. Exactly. But yes, so episode 50. So before we dive into the topic of night and ramble on as we usually do, Matt, I'm sure you've listened to every episode of the Strength Hammer podcast, just like we've listened to every episode of the Big M's Power Hour. Not crossing my feet there.
I do. I listen to every episode.
I know.
I like, favorite, subscribe, and comment, and
smash that like button.
One of our 10 listeners.
Did you ring that bell?
Not yet.
Okay, you're almost there. So first we talk about a little bit of fitness, how we've been doing. So Matt, I'll kick it off with you. How's your fitness been? Usually we talk about the last couple of weeks, but you can talk longer if it's been a longer process because you haven't been on in a while.
Oh.
Perfect. It's great.
I went up and down Neil's stairs like 100,000 times.
That's true. That's true.
I kept going to the basement like, shit, I forgot something in my bag, and then went all the way upstairs again. I'm not used to a 2-story house, but yeah, I did that.
Strength hammer will get you in ways you never expected.
There you go. Thankfully, I am used to a 2-story house, so it didn't bother me at all. But I can feel that. Neil, how's your fitness been?
Just managing my stress levels while some people went out to a gym for 5 hours during the middle of my event. That's all.
Like 3.
There's probably some butt ucking going on there. Yeah.
It was only 3 hours. All right, so
We got a game in, and
really, I'm curious to know what happened while we were away, but we'll get when we get to the topic. I'm curious on that.
all right.
Well, my fitness, I mean, usual regular gym workouts. They've been at home this past week, but yeah, at Adeptiwont, which I'll get into. Me, Alex, and Mike left. We found a nice gym that we pretended like we were moving to the area to get a free 3-day pass so we could go and have this little competition where we did 6 lifts. We all chose 2 to see who would earn the most points, based on first, second, third, and I had a good time. I took last place, but only by a half point. I hit 4 PRs during that day, so it was a good day. I'm stronger than I realized, so I can't complain. So fitness has been pretty good. But yeah, trying to establish a new routine right now, so get back into it. So there's that. Normally after this, we talk about hobby. Now, most of our hobby is going to be from Adeptiwont, but post Adeptiwont till now. Neil, have you had any hobby going on lately? Any 3D printing, list building, anything fun going on?
Look at the swerve. That's what he's doing right now.
What? What's swerve?
It's his poor connection on my side.
Oh, he is frozen. Well, anyway.
So
we'll wait for him to get back.
That's a dodge.
Apparently, video's a little hard. Oh, wait, Neil might be back. Neil, are you there?
I am.
Neil. Okay, hobby, Neil. Post Adeptiwont till now. What hobby have you done?
I have been working actually on Hero Quest. So I've been painting up Hero Quest figures. I have been playing Hero Quest games with my kids and by myself on the app. I am 1 quest away from completing the original game of Hero Quest, which I've been wanting to do since I was 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
I've never done it. I've actually never played through these because it was just me and my brothers way back when. I could never get past the first 3 quests because, whatever reasons, right?
Yeah, kids.
And but yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. My daughter, I've raised correctly. She enjoys being the dungeon master, and she stops at nothing to try and kill my heroes, to the point where I've decided, rather than get butthurt about her killing off my people, that I'm just going to make a hall of heroes for every time one dies, and then I'll 3D print a new character and bring them onto the board. So she's costing me lots of money.
Oh, come on. 3D printing, it's not a lot of money.
Just let her bring out the model like, well, you're not going to Harvard. Well,
Right.
Not going to Ohio State.
Ooh, not going to Ohio State. Man. All right. Matt.
Well, community's on the cutting table.
Matt,
But no, that's
your hobby, Neil? Oh, we're losing him again. I guess the video's too much for him.
I've been doing that, and I've been building lists too.
Oh, okay, he's back. All right, cool. Yep.
We may have the Amish, but he has the Amish internet. That's
He sure does.
I don't know why. You guys have been fine over here. I don't lose you guys at all, and it looks like I don't know.
If it was just me, I'd blame my PC, but it's Matt too, so it must be that Ohio PA state line. It's your internet's going through East Palestine to get to us, so it's mutating along the way.
Yeah. Picking up internet herpes. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure it's going through Middle East Palestine.
Ooh, we go all the way around.
I don't know why it's not. I didn't even stop at
Surfshark.
So I feel like this computer should be clean.
Again, I remember what was it? All Friday and all Saturday when someone's internet went down because
those are the worst.
Wind.
Yeah.
Wind and sunshine makes Ohio internet sad.
My parents 50 minutes away lost their power for all the day, so we got lucky.
We lucked out.
Can we even play Warhammer without power? I don't even. I'm kidding. That's all you can do. You can drink and play Warhammer. That's all you got.
Not in my basement, you can't.
Candlelight, sir.
Speaking of real quick aside, many years ago at this point, I don't know if you remember this or not, Chuck. Whenever I was doing the little November 5th narrative games,
Yeah.
and we got our buddy, not Strength Hammer Dave, but our mutual friend Dave.
Yep.
And the power went out.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like,
I do.
he was
I
like,
do remember
now
that.
what do we do? And I reached over, grabbed the dice, rolled them, and went, huh, still work.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was probably like 4 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, probably a little longer.
Thankfully, your basement gaming area is
Yeah.
you have a nice big window into it on the first
Yeah,
floor.
very
so
very nice and bright.
It's true.
Especially because there was no store, but it doesn't matter. We won't go on a tangent.
Whatever.
Anyways, my hobby's much better than Neil's hobby of
Oh, please,
Hero Quest.
please enlighten us.
I have built about 1,000 points worth of KO just this week alone, and I realized last night that I have more to build, so I need to buy more so I can build more. So
Okay, well, my hobby
That's where I'm at
since
with KO as well.
it's my hobby since I built and painted KO, specifically the new code right, Norgrims, Rune Throng, the Regiment Renown, random freaking dark elf stuff that's popped up that I've gotten to, and I've gotten a crap ton of fantasy dwarfs behind me. I'm not sure. Can we see it? Can we see? Yeah, there's a stack. Wait, there it is. There it is, and then there's a stone thrower drawing behind my shoulder, whatever.
what did you get?
So
I need to know what those white boxes are.
So one is an Iron Drake, because I don't have any in my fantasy army. So it's only
Okay.
10.
I'm sad to see that that's in a white box now.
Yes. 10 more Iron Breakers, because I have 10 already, so I want to have a unit of 20.
Yeah.
And then 10
Probably
hammer.
want to get that up to 30.
No, 20 is fine for that. I have 10 hammers, which I want to get that up to 30, but I also want to get the High King of the Dwarves, I forget his name, Thorgrim. There it is. It's in my head.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do 10 just to have them until I get Thorgrim. It's not used painting anymore, so it's what it is. But also, Stone Thrower, metal, and a Gyrocopter, metal, which I'm scared to death to put together. Because that Stone Thrower was a nightmare. And the
Use
Gyrocopter...
two-part epoxy on that.
No.
Oh god, no.
I'm just going to super glue it until it never moves again. If my high elf, wood elf, and dark elf metal dragons are held together down here, which I can point and people can understand now. That's great. If they're held together with super glue for all these years, so can those. It'll be fine.
So I put some metal war machine together with two-part epoxy.
Mm-hmm.
Not only does this stuff stink to high heaven, but dear God, it is reality melding.
Boy.
I've literally taken a model that literally had his arm like fully extended, drop him off the table by accident, landed arm first, and like just dented the floor, and that was it.
It's like, nah, I win.
Didn't even lose a finger.
Outside of that, just some general organization. But yeah, if you want to see any stuff I painted, just Strength Hammer _ on Twitter, Instagram. I post all that crap up all the time. But looking forward to more dwarves coming up. So, all right, that's good hobby. That's good hobby. Let's get into the main topic of the show, episode 50 of the Strength Hammer podcast. Neil or Matt, you're supposed to make like bow, 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 bow noises. Hype it up. Come on.
Ba 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 ba.
Boy, I hope
Welcome to Warhammer News Weekly. I'm your host, Dad Cobble.
I really hope my audio compression's working. Otherwise, everyone with headphones is now never listening again. Hey, good news, everybody. Neil just froze once more, so enjoy that.
Once again, frozen. Who? What? Hi.
At least he froze in a nice smile. He's happy looking.
See, on my side, it just says poor connection. I wish I had the pictures.
I see the picture. I don't see any poor connection. He just stops. And with a slight stutter his computer already has.
Up.
Oh, he's gone.
He's out of there.
He's out of there. Now the Strength Hammer podcast video is just. Oh wait, he's coming back. It was just Matt really big for a second and me really tiny because we're using Facebook Messenger for this call. So yeah. Anyway,
I don't know.
Thanks, Google. Piece
Might
of
have to go
shit.
Sans
Yeah.
video if it happens again.
fucking Google won't let us use more than an hour, and sometimes we go an hour and 2 minutes. Fuck you.
So
Yeah.
So I'll get it started here.
Let's get the Adeptiwont recap started.
Yeah. So let's see here. I'm gonna need some help on Thursday night. I don't remember it very well.
Thursday night, Chuck painted miniatures.
Yeah.
That's right. We Chuck painted miniatures and we watched him.
Yes.
And I also painted miniatures, but not nearly as quickly.
And then Alex was reading up his Orc Codex.
He's trying to figure out how to play
Yes.
the games we were playing.
Codex, not Battletome.
Mm-hmm.
I was, it's funny, like going into it, I was ready to do something, whether it was test bars, heroes, play like Soul Blight or something, or some other role-playing game, and we ended up not really doing too much of anything. And you know what? I was perfectly fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just sat around and shot the shit. Like, that was pretty much it. We had the stream on.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I am generally amazed at how old we all turned out to be for this event. Like, it's like midnight. We've had like 4 beers. We're like, let's go to bed, guy. Like, we made it to 1, but we weren't really party animals as I thought we might be.
I don't know, man. I got 5 hours of sleep every night. So
It's because you wake up way too early for no reason.
Yeah, I was making people flapjacks and shit. Like y'all.
Yeah, you were.
Y'all
It
had a
was
different
great.
experience.
It was great.
I woke up every day at 7, and he was already like up and in a 3-piece suit and ready to go. He's
but
serving me wine. That's
so yeah, the Thursday. I mean, me and Alex road tripped out the mat. Then Matt jumped on board, and we road tripped all the way out there. So it was a good time. It was nice chatting, talking, having a good time.
yeah.
Like that Thursday, we just had the stream on, just talking, catching up, painting some models. I thought we would play some games, but we chose not to. Neil's out of the call once again. It's just
Big M. Big M.
Biggest M is here.
Big M. Watch the show. Big M Power Hour coming out next Friday.
Oh. But yeah, so that
Sorry, now
was
you told me that I'm the full screen. I had to make a big.
You are the full screen whenever Neil leaves because that's just the way it's set up,
Yeah.
which is fine. I can accept it. I'm down the tiny right hand side. If everyone enjoys a big
It
M.
feels weird. I'm not used to it. I'm not used to being the whole screen.
Well, I'm just thankful you're
Insane.
here because if I was doing this with just Neil, oh my god, I'd stop recording. I'd be like, screw this. I'm just gonna do something interesting.
Like I'm done.
It is.
Well, we'll continue on. So
So we woke up the next day into
essentially,
Friday.
yeah. So again, Neil, as always, makes a very full and whole breakfast.
He does lots of really strong coffee, bacon, protein flapjacks,
Now,
and eggs.
what I think is, yeah. So we kind of sat around. I was kind of waiting for like the TO to take charge and like, which was to like try and get things started, and it didn't really happen. I think you guys, you, Alex, and Mike went out.
Yeah.
What, around 10, 11?
Well, yeah, I sensed the lack of urgency, and I said, you know what? I don't want to play a 3 or 4 hour game of Warhammer because we're not rushing through these. We're just having fun. I didn't want to play that and then go try and work out. I said I was ready to go. Like, guys, let's just go. Let's just knock it out. Let's have a good time. We'll grab lunch for everybody on the way back, which is around 1. So I'm glad we did that. So it felt really good. And after that, just the only thing we had to worry about was games. So while we were doing our lifting competition, what were you doing?
Well, the two of us kind of sat around for a little bit, waiting for you back, and then whenever we realized that it wasn't going to be just a quick like 45 minutes in and out, we decided to get a pregame in where I threw my freshly painted, assembled, and newly readied Sylvaneth versus his Caradron Overlords, which I immediately learned KO is a counter to Sylvaneth.
Anything that can deal any mortal wounds of moderate level is a counter to Sylvaneth.
Well, so not only is it a moderate amount of mortal wound output, but they also fly, completely subverting the line of sight blocking terrain that I put down all over the table.
Oh, well, I guess that's also fair.
So there was no running, there was no hiding, there was nothing I could do. It was
get shot.
A slaughter.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, it was, and this seemed to be the trend for the whole weekend. If I put my Sylvaneth on the table, they were either going to immediately get slaughtered and then continue to get slaughtered, or come back as iron champions that will not die. There was no middle ground.
No middle
like
ground.
there was no like 28 to 27. It was so yeah, so he just threw me around like nobody's business.
Was he doing the all boats with the injured riggers build?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So the first one is the one where he had the long strikes where they were all using rifles, and he came to the conclusion that long strikes aren't good from that. And I'm like, or they're not good with all rifles.
Wait, you said long strikes. Do you mean thunderers?
Thunderers is what I mean. Yes, sorry.
Yes. That's it.
I played Stormcasts. And, yeah, I was playing Stormcasts and prior to playing KO. So yeah, but yeah, so he was bringing his Thunderers. He brought them all with rifles because that's what he had built, and they were pretty lackluster. But also on top of that, like I was rolling really hot for those saves.
Right.
All game I was rolling hot for saves. Like normally, I'm again back to Stormcast. I'm used to like sitting there on like 2 ups and shit and just failing everything. Here I'm sitting there 4 ups, 5 ups, and just no, ain't gonna go down. But like it's just the weight. Just so many shots coming from everywhere.
Gets to you eventually.
Yeah. So I try to take the old Ernest advice of shoot the shit on the boat first.
Okay.
Which again, he got into melee with me, so whenever he got into melee, I was able to target his heroes at that point. So I got rid of his Endrin Masters.
Right.
He brought bomblets, so I had to get rid of the bomblets before those went off.
Right.
And then my biggest mistake, I think, Neil might tell you differently if he ever gets back on, but I wanted to empty the boat before I started focusing on the boat.
Right.
And it should have been take out the Endrin Masters, then work on the boat. That's probably the order I should have went.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not.
Not that I don't think I would have lasted long enough to take the boat out, though.
Well, no, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I can see how that'd be a tough matchup, but hey, I mean, that was your 4th game with Sylvaneth?
Yes.
So
yes.
I mean, you seem to be pretty good with that army. So like you're just gonna run into those encounters where you can't deal with it.
Right. Well, also on top of that, it's a fun build. It's not a competitive build. It has a Lariel in it, and she is definitely the dead weight in that army.
She's so
820 points. I know, right? She's 820 points, and all she does is like maybe 8 wounds a turn.
I mean,
maybe.
I know. All right, hold on. We're gonna run something on the fly. Let's see if I can't increase my video size. Oh wait, Neil's coming back.
Oh shit.
Neil's coming back.
Oh shit.
Just as I'm trying to get this fixed, Neil comes back, so I don't have to make myself bigger. Good timing, Neil. Matt was just telling us how his Sylvaneth just ground your KO to the ground.
Total victory.
Like reached up, pulled them out of the sky, and said, "Fuck you." Is that true?
It was actually,
So after I destroyed his boat,
it was actually
I threw it off the table. I took some Kleenex, threw it at him, and said, "Men don't cry. Get over yourself." And Neil ran upstairs.
Oh boy.
That's the opposite of what happened, actually.
And then I jerked off on his model.
I think Matt said, I hate this game and I'm never playing it again. So I'm not sure why he's on this podcast.
No, he
Oh,
told
now
no,
Chuck's gone.
it was actually a pretty. Go ahead.
yeah, Matt told the
Now
truth.
Chuck's got the poor connection.
What? No, I'm
yeah,
fine.
we
Matt told the truth, but give us a little insight from your perspective of that game.
Sure. I felt like it was a really good game, honestly. I was 2 seconds away from shaking his hand, and it was on a dice roll, essentially.
Right.
We did have a pretty good back and forth, and there was a dice roll to bring Alariel back onto the board.
Yeah.
If Matt did the thing that would happen 67% of the time, then then that game was probably his. Consequently,
Fair.
that did not happen,
No,
and
I think you had way too much left on the board for Alariel to really make too much of a difference. She might have been able to hold an objective down or keep you off one, but
yeah, I don't know. I play if Matt already went over my list, stop me. But I mean, everything was in the big boat.
Yep.
Right. Whole army all weekend was in the big boat, and most people like only saw the big boat, right? And when you see the big boat, you try to attack the big boat. Now, that's the wrong thing to do. I suppose I don't know. We'll get to my next game with him future, but yeah, I think that's it was a lot of fun. I was running a list that was just dumb because I had the Tusk helm, and until they rule the Tusk helm at some point, which they will do, I was just doing a whole lot of mortal wounds on a charge.
You ran an event.
Matt did kill my guy with the bomblets.
Yeah,
that was good because otherwise it'd been more mortal wounds.
Ran an event with without the FAQ with a broken list. I get it.
Right. I mean, we know one thing about Neil, and that is he loves the meta and he loves net lists. That's
Dude, I'm whack as all get out, baby.
Absolutely.
This is the new Neil. This is 2023 Neil. He doesn't fuck around.
While you were doing that, me, Mike, and Alex were doing back squat, incline dumbbell press, deadlift, leg press, cleans, and overhead press for our little score. So it was a great time. Like I said, I PR 4 times. Head over to Instagram
like,
to see the videos of it. I won't relay it too much here,
Whoa.
but it was a good time. Good time.
Sounds like some weird Kama Sutra shit to me.
I mean, it was. And then we got some nice chicken sandwiches while Matt suffered because Wendy's can't deliver a fish sandwich in an hour, apparently.
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Thank goodness I got a lot of mac and cheese to help feed Matt.
It's amazing you weren't even more cranky during that game, considering you were so hungry.
No, remember that game was at
it was like morning
11.
It was post your breakfast, which is a good breakfast.
Yeah,
you make a
damn
good breakfast.
I think so.
Yeah, we both complimented your breakfastness or your breakfast smithing. There you go.
Hobby no good. Breakfast. All right. Found something I'm good at.
Pancake master. Bacon on point.
Flapjacks. I don't make pancakes. I make flapjacks.
I don't know what the difference is, and I don't care to know.
I don't know either.
Men make flapjacks.
All right, that's fair. All right. So anyway, after that, we get back. We have our tons of chicken. Matt gets food at some point in his life. No, it took a while.
Not really.
So we finally begin the Adeptiwont 2023 event. So game one, if you recall from the last podcast, at the very end, assuming you listened to the whole way through, I grudged Neil super hard because at the Terathi Invitational, his high elves ran over Terathi and her dark elves, and I wanted revenge. So I brought the meanest fantasy list.
Meta list.
No, it wasn't meta. It wasn't meta because I brought Hellebron. I could have made it worse. I brought the meanest list while still having a fun character that I like. And I managed to take Neil's shit and push it back inside of his butt.
Well, considering my list was actually a list that I ran for the Warhammer Fantasy event that had objective play and all the rest of that, and monsters that could have ward saves from the riders and all that. Mm-hmm. I was just too lazy to put anything else together. So I'm like, all right, well, this is my list.
Which is really interesting.
It did not work out in actual fantasy.
No, and to be fair, top of one, actually bottom of one, I should say, I was controlling whole center of the board, except for like a few side pieces, which you couldn't make charges on. So I'm pretty sure I would have had any objective you put on that board, except for maybe on my left, your right side, because your dragon princes were attacking a single repeater bolt thrower, which, as I said at that time, is a war crime. That's a lot of manpower throwing into nothing.
Yeah, well, I had nothing else to do with them at that point. I deployed poorly.
That's it. It was a fun game. It was nice getting Terathi's Revenge. I always enjoy playing fantasy. It also does help that I play fantasy every single week now, it seems. So I was very up to speed on things. But
I have to say, I am, having played the objective play, and I know this is heresy to you, Chuck, but having played a game of fantasy with objective play and some altered rules, I like that version so much better that it's hard for me to want to play regular old 8th edition at this point.
Well, see, I have a great game with objective play called Age of Sigmar. So why would I want to force it into another great game?
And that's fine. And I 100% agree with you. Right now, I'm
the only reason
into my character.
The only reason I'm leaning more into this bit is only because my dwarves can't compete on an objective-based fantasy game because they're movement 3. And it's like, oh, we need to prevent the gun line. No, that's what dwarves are supposed to do. End of story.
Sorry, they can lose.
Nah, they don't need to lose.
Now, I will say, Neil, there is a rank and flight game that does have objective play baked into the rules.
Anyway, so Matt, how was your first game? Did you play Sigmar? I think, right?
Yes. So Alex and I were originally set to face off, and I wasn't sure how that was going to work because he had Skaven.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know if you can scalpel a horde army, but we're going to find out. And then we realized that we had an odd number. So our buddy Mike
with Iron Jaws
decided to jump in and also join the Skaven ranks. So they went 2,000 point lists, and we kind of mishmashed our way through. Like,
yeah,
they both had an artifact. So we're like, okay, we'll share your command points, and if both your generals are on the table, you both get an extra point, and just share the pool. I think we kind of split it pretty well down the middle. I wasn't too worried about heroic actions, but I think they ended up deciding to do only one heroic action for the force.
That sounds fair.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to fight you.
Yeah, sure.
As a turn 1, Mike came in with his Iron Jaws and was just like, hey, all the shit on this side of the table, I don't want it there anymore. And I just picked up all of it. Like, I was like, I don't know. Okay. I was like, honestly, at this point, I was going to, like, if we were at a tournament, I would have been like, okay, let's just shake and re-rack or whatever. And,
Yeah.
But I was like, no, we'll just play it out. We got nowhere to go, nowhere to be. No one really cares. So we just kept playing. And after turn 1, because even on my turn, I didn't do well on turn 1. Like, it was not good. And then turn 2 happened, and Sigmar himself came down upon me and was like, "You shall not lose this day." And it was like my dice they had like 2 6s on them. Like, it was just everything was just rolling so hot.
In our game as well, that game should have been over in 1 turn, but you were doing nothing but rolling saves. It was unbelievable. I was just like, are we serious right now? This is Matt I'm playing, right?
Listen, when we get to the game where I played Matt, same thing when we get there. So I'm not going to spoil that.
I don't want to hear about your dice anymore, man.
Neil, I'm going to need that table from you.
Yeah, you played on that same table every time. Good.
I'm going to bring it to Brewhammer with me.
That's good. So how did the game continue on?
So as far as that goes, it literally just got to the point where nothing could stop me.
That's awesome.
I was able. I think the only thing that I did tactically, I think the only thing that was like smart play on my side that they kind of fell into was I summoned the Tree Lord, And normally how I work it is I work the Tree Lord and Alariel to work together. So on my opponent's turn, I can give a unit strike last. And so both Alariel and the Tree Lord can strike before they hit me back. But this time I was like, what if I put it aside like I'm heading towards an objective, and Mike fell for it and put, I want to say he put his like Maw Crusher into it. And it was able to do just enough just to bracket it.
Right.
So later, whenever inevitably Alariel and the Maw Crusher met, she was a top bracket. He was at, I think, second or mid bracket. And so she was able to stay alive, especially with Best Day Ever and Mystic Shield. But yeah, he brought her down to one wound.
That's not where you want to leave Alariel. Not where you want to leave Alariel.
So then my turn, I got to roll for health coming back. I rolled 11. I was within 9 of a forest, so I got another one, and then I cast Regrowth on myself, cast the 6, back up to full.
Oh, you love to see it.
You get nothing.
Yes. You did nothing but waste my time. But yeah, as far as that goes, I felt bad for Alex. I'll tell you the one thing, like, I don't know why, I look at the war scroll for the Kurnoth Hunters, and I go, yeah, that's not bad. But on the table, they're just these monsters.
Yeah.
Just these, like,
beautiful
these
monsters.
Like, broken as fuck.
I want to go that
like,
far.
I'm telling you, I don't understand what it is. Like, well, I guess whenever you're comparing it to, like, Tree Revenants. You know, but like, oh, those 3 guys with size just did 18 damage or some shit. Like, I don't know how that happened, you know. But yeah, no, it eventually just got to the point where, like, you attack me, I would just save 90% of it, no matter what the save was, and then 90% of my attacks would go through. They would save almost none of it, and it was just like Skaven bodies were flying, and Orc bodies were dropping, and
it's all fertilizer for
Let the
Alariel's.
bodies hit the floor.
Oh boy!
I was like, I should have taken some footage for my Team America application. That's
well, I guess to give a little more in depth to our game, 'cause it sounds like you had a good game, Matt.
yeah.
So me and Neil, like I said, it was a grudge match, and I brought the hard shit, and Neil brought his stuff. He clearly was in a different mindset, and I acknowledge that. I had 35 Witch Elves with a Cauldron, Hellebron, and BSB, and Razor Standard, and just everything. I mean, and Witch Elves in fantasy, or Witch Elves everywhere. You push forward, you get combat, you roll 60 dice, and something dies, and it's not you. And I put those dead center, and Neil, I remember deploying on this, and I remember, Neil, you put your big block of spearmen opposing them, and I'm just like, in no world do those ever beat my block of frenzied witch elves. Ever.
I have no idea. At that point, I'm hoping that they kind of live at least, and then I just kind of hold you up with leadership and whatnot. But
I will say, like, a few things. Like, I put my repeater bolt throwers on opposite sides of the table, and I was a little worried. I knew I was gonna lose them. I was like, I'm gonna lose them in turn 2 minimum. And I did on the left, because Dragon Princes just came in, and like I said, it was a war crime. From the right, your Larian Reavers just couldn't make a charge, and would flee.
Well, they ran.
Yeah, and then they ran, because they fled, because I panicked them. It was just, and this one repeater bolt thrower was like, all right, but the repeater bolt thrower it shot something else once, like killed a couple spearmen, I think, but then it was just shooting them, so like my war machines were useless. It was all about these witch elves and these other 2 units just getting in the way and just running at you, and it worked.
I understand that people use like Reavers or have used them, and they use them well, and Vanguard Cavalry are like a thing. I've never found a single use for them. I've never got them to do anything but run around and die. And I just, like, I don't know why I bring them, I guess it just fills a core points for me that I don't own yet.
See,
So we'll make.
I've always had
those
They
are
have
going to
bows,
go.
right?
What's that?
What's that?
They have bows, right?
No, you have to pay for the
You
bows.
have to pay for the bows.
A, pay for bows, and then B, use them like a gun hauler.
No, no.
Uh,
You know why? Because the bows, if they move, the bows like hit on 4s. There's 5 shots. They hit on 4s. I fail 3 of them minimum because I'm rolling 4s, right? And then they're never going to wound. At the best, they're going to do 1 wound. And really what I'm doing is I'm setting them after war machines. So what am I trying to do? Take out one guy? Gets me nothing.
I don't feel like bringing out the
Right,
book,
so-
but being Vanguard gives you fast cav, or fast cav gives you Vanguard. I don't know if you take a minus on the shooting. Neil.
Okay, I get 2 wounds on something that's not a war machine. Because if I shoot the war machine, it's just going to go on the toughness of the war machine. Nothing's getting through.
Here's what you do with the Larian Reavers, because I've had good effect with them. They go forward. You don't use them to take out. I mean, you can use them to take out war machines. Like the Larian Reavers going that way was fine. I just got lucky shots, and you had unlucky rolls on your leadership. That's all it was.
You got average shots.
Right, and you got unlucky leadership rolls. But yeah, you can use them to take out war machines. That's fine. But you use it to bait out charges. You wanted my witch elves to have to charge. Like if you put them right dead center in front of your spearmen, and put them,
right.
and then you vanguard them up, and I'd failed my leadership, and had to charge them because of frenzy. I have to test for leadership to not charge if it's possible.
Well, remember
You
though,
flee.
I did do that, and you rolled well and did not have to charge them, and then didn't charge them the next time, and then you shot them, and then they ran away.
That's what I mean. But that is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to bait out charges.
Right.
But anyway.
I tried, man. I tried.
It's fine. It was a good game, and I had a good time. And it's really funny because Matt beat you. You beat Matt. I beat you. Matt beats me. So we continue this trend.
Mm-hmm. And
We got rock, paper, scissors.
Yep.
Now, I would like to remind the audience at home that for the first 8 episodes of the Big M Power Hour, my co-host was Chuck Moore. So I'm going to count that up as a Big M Power Hour win.
No, by percentage-wise, we have so many episodes of Strength Hammer without you now that you can't claim it. It's percentage, like we claim.
And plus, you're on Chuck's channel, so yeah, it's
I can just go delete all
you
those videos right now.
You were a core foundation member of the Big M Power Hour, and we wouldn't be where we are today without you.
Well, pretty much, I'll just claim victory over everybody then. Anyway, it is fair. Let's see. Okay, so we had some fun game 1s, win or loss. So we move into the game 2. Neil, tell me your second game went better than the first game for you. What were you? What
game 2 was after. This is
I guess we should
after the Mexican restaurant.
Right. We should keep in mind, everybody. Right? Yeah, we'll talk about the Mexican restaurant first, but keep in mind, Fantasy, 40K, and Sigmar were all available options to play.
Yeah, these were all part of the tournament.
Yes.
But
you're right.
It was meant to be ridiculous.
Before I get too far ahead, mention the Mexican restaurant, the Corona Ritas.
Yeah.
So
Chuck and I, due to some bets during the Tarathi Classic, had to make good on some shots.
Yeah.
I had been drinking beers since well before they left for the gym, and taking shots, and ended up with a nice Corona Rita over top of my Roqueta burrito, which is a pork burrito, which is delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get to game 2 after all of this, and game 2 starts at about 11 p.m. I want to say to me, and it's 40K, and I believe Alex and I took maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour to deploy. Most of which, by the way, was the 10,000 orcs that were getting put down.
Right. And that was Alex's army. What were you bringing to this, Neil?
I had Tau, because if I play 40K, that is all I'll ever have.
Fish fucker.
But I put it all down on the table, and I'm like, surely that's just all of his models. That's not actually the 2,000 point army. And I said to him, is that 2,000 points? He said, yeah. Oh shit!
Well, I mean, they
Because there's
can't.
only
They
so
can't
much
shoot.
target saturation I can handle.
I know they can't shoot, so
So
you got to just shoot them
can't.
off.
They were terrible at shooting. He took the first turn. He moved up the board, as you'd imagine he did. Now, I have played a decent amount of games with my Tau at this point, and I'm very used to how turn one plays out. I have my entire army marker lighting the hell out of everything on the board. And then I just, Tau goes brrr, and, half the army dies, right? And then you touch me with the other half of the army, and then only half of my army's left, right? So here's what happened. He played a stratagem that had 10 little Gretchen models, which are goblins for those of you who are more AOS inclined. Terrible, terrible, terrible models. So I took a unit and I said, let's make that unit gone because I have to shoot that one first. So I shot it. Somehow, out of 18 shots, I killed one. Okay.
Which
that was just a bad...
Terrible.
There's a bad thing that happened, right? But we'll just shoot it again. I think I killed possibly 2 more. Maybe just 1 more. Okay. So I said, you know what? We're not going to shoot this thing anymore. We're going to shoot something else that's eligible. That big old whatever, like guy on the
Daka Snazwagon or whatever.
Squig, like that what is. Before we
shot
the Snazwagon, we decided we're going to shoot this guy. All right. I guess no, we did shoot the Snazwagon with my my tank, which nearly killed it. Didn't take it all the way out. Nearly killed it. Now I'm going to take my giant 400 some point Storm Surge Titanic vehicle, right? And we're going to turn this thing, we're going to parcel out the shots, okay? We're going to take care of this line of Gretchen, which is one line of the, like, I don't know, some rockets or some shit, right? I'm going to take this giant cannon, we're going to turn on that big ass orc, and we're going to just melt that guy with 2 shots that do 12 damage apiece.
Yeah, which is a good call because that guy in combat is brutal every time I played Alex. It's brutal.
The way I play 40K is I look at it, and the bigger the sword, the more guns I point at it. Okay.
That's probably a good idea, actually.
What I do.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what any of this stuff does. Big sword, shoot. Okay. Looks nasty, we shoot it. And so I actually played a stratagem that means you don't get any invulnerable saves at all on this. So my Storm Surge had its anchors down, turns that big old gun, 2 shots on 3s, right? Fail them both.
Oh.
No big deal. The anchors are down, baby. We've got this. Let's roll those dice again. Surely we'll get 1 3. No, man. No.
Ouch.
So he fired some missile, took out that big old the giant thing that he had with the orcs, like chariot weird ass thing. That thing went away. That was the only thing I did. All the shots that went into the Gretchen, I think killed maybe 1 or 2 more. So I still wasn't able to touch this giant block of orcs that were immediately behind it.
Which died just as easily as those Gretchen, honestly.
Right. I had some of my units off the board, which is a normal strategy for me. I dropped them in on turn 2, which is the earliest you can possibly drop them in. But what I didn't take into account was if any of my army is up in the drop ship, that's less things to shoot. All the other things. And we were playing a scenario where you couldn't come down into no man's land. So I couldn't move stuff forward. I couldn't do any of that Vanguard-y type stuff. And when 75% of my army barely took out a single unit, that's when I reached across the board on turn 1 and said, guess what, buddy? You're going to charge into me and melt my entire army in this next turn. So you've got it. So I was also a little cranky at my dice at that point, a little drunk, and a lot tired.
Yeah. Well, it was funny waking up the next day and realizing you and Alex just walked away from that table and seeing the board state and going, huh, Neil wasn't lying. He did absolutely nothing with his shooting.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Which is egregious because everything was marker light.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that stunning defeat, Matt, how'd your second game go? And what were you playing?
I played Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Okay.
And just say like that. It was on the list.
No, I mean, on the Strength Hammer podcast, we are indifferent to this game. We're not hostile. We're not appreciative. We are indifferent.
Only 50% of us are indifferent.
It was on the list. It was valid. So it's getting spoken of. So this was this was like the first time I actually like tried to play the game properly.
Okay.
I definitely misread a lot of rules whenever I was learning it. Not to a terrible extent, but enough that it was a little bit of a foreign concept to me. Like, um, I don't know where I picked up that like the dice are 8-sided dice, so you have blanks, hits, defenses, crits, and skulls. For some reason, I picked up that skulls take away successes, where all it is it just can't be re-rolled. I don't know where I picked that up, but I thought for sure that was it. So I made a unit of 10. I picked my team, my roster of 10 guys. I went with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and I think I did as well as you could hope for against someone that knows how to play the game inside and out.
Right, you're playing John, right?
I played our buddy John, who is captain of the Chill Police.
Yep.
He is the most chill wargamer I think I've ever seen ever.
Even
I've
whenever
never seen
he's
John
like
get upset.
crushing you, crushing you, or
Right,
being,
or
being
getting
crushed. He's just the same even-keeled, wonderful human being.
Be more like John, wargamers, and I include myself in this statement. I
Yeah.
can do it.
Yep, it's hard. Yeah.
No, I'll tell you the only complaint I have about the game is I didn't get like a big impressive wow moment. It was just sad trombone after sad trombone. Like my tactics weren't sound, my list wasn't sound, my dice were not sound. Like
Okay. Right.
so there's one character who's a little bit on the lesser known side. Her name is Magic. For anyone that knows comics somewhat, that's Colossus's sister.
Sounds stupid.
He attacked my Omega Red, and I forget if it was a once per game ability or if it was just a regular ability on the card or whatever. But whenever she does the attack, she includes not only her skulls towards her successes, but my skulls as well. So I rolled 5 defense dice, all 5 were skulls.
That's no good.
And then like he rolled 3 skulls as well, along with like a success or 2, and then all of a sudden the next thing I knew, Omega Red, who was supposed to be my tank to hold the one whole side of the board by himself because he gives out all these debuffs and it's just an awful mess. All of a sudden he's gone. And I'm like, okay. That's how the game's gonna go. And that's how the game went. I got to have some fun with a Sentinel. Thing is, whenever I first read the card, I was like, this seems a little lackluster. Like, I didn't quite get it. But on the table, once again, much like my Kurnoth Hunters, I was like, oh, there is beauty and symmetry in this unassuming card.
He's starting to believe.
Right, yeah. So between him and Magneto, I was able to get a lot of fun out of it.
Okay, question.
Although I would say,
question with the Sentinel, because
Yes.
I know you've talked about, and this is a cool thing where big guys can throw buildings and stuff. Can Magneto throw a Sentinel?
Well,
If the answer's not yes, I'm saying 2 out of 10, worst game ever.
Well,
The
the
answer
game's
is
not
not,
really
in fact,
set
yes.
up to throw each other.
2 out of 10,
You
worst
could
game ever.
technically, yeah, you might be able to.
Magneto should be able to pick up that Sentinel and be like, fastball special from any part of the board. All right.
Now there is a fastball special card, so if you bring Colossus and Wolverine, Colossus can throw Wolverine.
Right, that's fine, but that's not Magneto throwing a Sentinel.
So in that game, they also have ultimate encounters where like one of the like, traditional like big bad guys get like way overpowered, and you have to take like 2 teams against the one guy. So Magneto does have one. So I wonder whether he can do something like that. Magneto has one.
All right. I'm gonna.
The Hulk has one.
I'm gonna say 2 out of 10 until I see until Matt plays the game with Magneto overpowered, and I see.
Yeah. You guys should have played.
I'm sorry. My brain was totally scattered. Yes, he can absolutely throw Sentinels. He can do it for free every turn.
Buying it right now as we speak. I will finally play this game.
As far as your knowledge of the rules goes, yes, he can do that.
Perfect. That's all I want.
Oh, speaking of, real quick, just one quick aside before we leave the Crisis Protocol station.
Yeah.
During Adepticon, although they did quite a poor job of posting it on the social medias,
Yeah,
thankfully there were other people that did.
Yeah, posting
Your
pictures
favorite
of the of the reveals.
Right. Your favorite Nightcrawler has finally been announced.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. I saw those.
I'll make sure.
And I saw X-Wings trying to make a push comeback out of nowhere.
I think it's just a slow burn into oblivion, I think is what it's.
I don't know. But still, yeah, that was kind of neat to see that other games were doing.
They're just making up chips.
I'm excited other games were doing reveals at Adepticon on their own sort.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see. Yeah, for sure. All right.
And don't worry, everybody. Big M's Power Hour is going to order all the reveals.
Well, we're gonna do a quick
Next
reveal.
Friday.
We're gonna do a quick reveal at the end, but yeah, Matt over on Big M is gonna do a much more in-depth reveal instead of just going, the line is so cool, and that's all that matters.
Try to tuck in for a 4-hour episode.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, my second game, so I got to play the other half of Big M's Power Hour, Colt, and I think this was supposed to be a 40K game, but I said, hey, do you want to play fantasy? Because he just got a brand new Empire 3D printed army from Neil. Literally got it there and was putting the bases on, I believe. Correct?
He's had those bases on when he played me. He has not. I was hoping to see different bases. Not there quite yet.
But
I don't know what to tell you guys. He's been a real slacker lately. It's like he has a just
new job, new house, and a new wife. But yeah,
well, what I'd like to say to that is grow up, right? Grow up and set your priorities.
Exactly.
Right. Did he have a job before? Yeah, he's had a job before.
That's right. Did he have a girlfriend? Same thing.
Yeah. He just put a ring on it. Did he live in a building before? Yeah, he did. So nothing new.
Pick up the slack, Cole.
Face that shit.
Well, you'll be happy to know, because I've played Empire a number of times, but it was always rough, and I was usually playing High Elves. My High Elves would have decimated because I've had Fiery Convocation, which, Neil, you know that spell. Fiery Convocation, a strength 4, hit every model in the unit, and it just stays there over and over until they're dead. Is great against toughness 3 models.
I play dwarves.
But
that's why I play dwarves.
Fair enough. But I didn't have that. I had my Dark Elves. So we deployed, had a good deployment setup. We had a nice little, push forward. Like it was a nice. I felt like I was in the upper hand for the majority of the game, but it wasn't a crushing victory. And then we're getting to a point. It's like, I've had a few bad rolls with my dice, and I was about to get overrun on my level 4 caster. So last ditch effort, I had the level 6 spell, Antipel's Black Horror, which is a big template on 25 plus, and it's an initiative tester slain, and he had his whole art, like my army was here, his was here, the way we're pincering in, he was like straight up the line, and my level 4 was right here. And I was like, well, I could end the game here if I can miscast on this spell. Rolled 6 dice, failed. But I had the sack dagger, and there was a couple boys in the unit left.
That stupid ass sack dagger! I swear to God.
Sack that dagger, rolled that 6, hit that miscast, and it was just like boom. I don't care what happens to my wizard at this point. That spell went up.
You got me with that too.
I did. Yeah, it didn't win me the game with you, but it helped a lot. This guaranteed my victory against Cole because it went right up his whole line across, because it kept popping through the whole army, hit everything that was left that was impactful in his army. Killed over half of it. It all ran away. And then it was just like, and it was just chain reaction. And it was just like, I mean, that was it. Like I said, it would have been another round or two to see what would have happened. Like a couple bad rolls my end, he might have had the upper hand. Even though I felt like I was on the upper hand. But like it was just a few rolls away from going to his favor until that went off. And just, it felt good. It felt good beating Cole again. Haven't done that in a long time. But so it was fun. Like he didn't really tune that army too much yet. Empire is a fun army to play, so I'm glad he's got it in the mix. So yeah, I look forward to more games as he like tweaks it to more of what he wants. He had a few surprises in it that I wasn't really used to, so it was a good army. It was a fun game.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. Whatever comes to old school fantasy, there's no way to really understand how your army is going to play the first game. You just have to get a couple in to go, okay, I hate this unit. Oh, I need more of that unit, and I understand what this other unit I didn't bring does now.
Yeah. There's no Warhammer Weekly to tell you how to play your army and what's good and what's not.
And I while I kind of poo-pooed our game, I enjoyed the shit out of it. It's fantasy's fun as hell. It really is.
Fantasy's actually, it's weird. It's that game where if I'm losing, I'm still having more. Like Sigmar, I could be losing and having an okay time, not having a great time. Fantasy, I could be losing and still having a great time. And maybe it's a
Sounds like another game I know that's rank and flank. It
doesn't exist anyway. So, after that, I think we all just hung out, talked for a good while. Some people drove back to their respective houses, and some of us crashed in various beds. Had a good night. Woke up bright and early on Saturday.
Actually got beds that night.
Yeah, I remember looking at the clock, like, it was like around 1:22 when I finally fell asleep, and I think I was in bed around 1.
Yeah.
It wasn't a late night, but it was a good night. It was good. I was ecstatic coming off of Brewhammer being 1-4 to be starting an event 2-0, even if it was completely different game systems. I was just like, oh, thank God I can roll dice. I can do something with with the name Warhammer in it. But so the next day, wake up. I'm a little sore. I realized and learned that Matt has magic fingers.
Ooh.
So we're downstairs.
When did that take place?
So this in your kitchen, So you have the cooked coffee brew and you're heating up the flapjacks. I mean some breakfast. I'm a little sore, and Matt and Alex was a little sore, and Matt's just like, yeah, I do this for my girlfriend all the time. Like, where's the knot? And he did something for Alex for a little bit. And I was like, here, I got something in my shoulder. It was 30 seconds, and I was like, Matt got rid of every knot in my shoulder. I'm like, holy shit. Like, wow. Magic. Like, Matt, you should really just sell that service.
Massage therapy? Much?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Probably make more.
But breakfast, and then we slowly got going. Game 3. I think that's what Matt. That's when you and I played, correct? So let's let Neil take his game 3. Let's see how he did at the start of day 2.
So game 3 started my my tunnel into the destruction forces with my Karajan army.
Right.
So this was game 3.
It was against Mike, right?
I count Matt's game as game 1. For me, this is technically game 4. However, I played.
It was a practice game. It was before the event started. It doesn't count.
I played Terry's.
Terry, okay.
Terry's. What were they called?
Cruel Boys.
Swamp Bogglers.
There you go. Okay, you're playing Terry first. Gotcha.
Whatever they are. Cruel Boys, right? So we both had kind of gotcha moments in this game. So I knew that the crossbow guys in Cruel Boys were bad. I knew those things needed to be taken care of because I knew.
I don't think that was your next game. There was a game before that because that's my next game with Carl.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I played Carl.
Play Carl first. Okay.
You're right.
All right. Okay, everyone take it back up.
Rewind.
Game 3.
Game 3. So I got to face off against Carl's Giants, which everybody on this podcast knows, but you all out there may not know. I've been beating my head against this giant wall since they've come out. I think at this point I'm 0-20 versus Giants at least. And I'll ask Carl, we'll be playing pickup games, just fun games. He's like, what do you want me to bring? And I'll say, bring the Giants. He's like, why do you want me to bring the Giants? It's like, because at some point, being a Browns fan, I know this. Like, this is my hope for the Browns. Like, at some point, things have to go right. But much like the Browns, no, they don't. They don't have to go right. But this time, with my Karajan overlords and all my shenanigans with mortal wounds and my charging in and my phosphorite bomblets and my tusk helms and my 3d6 charges with mortal wounds on the number of dice rolled and whatever, I bombed into that boy. And when I say I took him out,
Took him down
I was
hard.
dropping a giant a turn, baby,
Oof.
and we were coming in there and we were slicing and dicing. It was amazing.
Wow. That's
So it did take me, I think, 2 combat rounds to take out his main general giant, which was the one that has the shield,
good.
the 6-up
He has
ward,
the ward.
and
Yep.
the kickback, the 6s on the wounds and everything. And but after I charged into him, he was already 15 wounds down. So I couldn't let off my bomblets at first because I was outside of 6 inches in the shooting phase. That has to be within 6 inches. So just on the charges, I took 15 mortal wounds off of him.
Ooh.
with the tusk helm and the
boat
and the ram on the boat.
And so that's why that's going to get FA the fuck cute.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Yep.
We shall see. Counts as charging, right? So in he went. But we did that. Then we had a bunch of the balloon boys in the boats and everything, and they cleaned up. He actually now Matt had killed my general that had the phosphorite bomblets. So I had learned from that, and what we did was instead of having I had some ridiculous aspect of the champion during our practice game, and I switched it over to the one where if my general dies on a 3-up, he comes back to life. So the giant reached in there, grabbed him, squished him, and then wouldn't you know it, but he, like a balloon, just popped right back into life.
I'm back.
And he's back, baby. And that was the blow up doll version. You didn't see. And
Dig Dug MD.
Right. And so he came back. We wind up killing that giant. We roll for the thing where, because when the giant falls, it hits everything in a certain amount of inches.
3 inches
fall,
from
right?
the point.
That's actually really bad for me because my entire army is within 6 inches.
Yeah,
it is.
Very bad.
Yeah, it is.
So I won the roll off there. He fell away. Perfect. No mortal wounds from that. Then his other giant was sitting on an objective, came forward. I won the turn, got into the next giant, shot the living bejesus out of them. Then we charged in again. But this one got the phosphorite bomblets off. We did 7 mortal wounds on the phosphorite bomblets, which was beefy. And we killed that giant in 1 turn. He went away. At that point, he had 1 little baby and Kragnos left. And Kragnos was on the other side of the board. So come what may, he was never going to outscore me. And I think I won that one 24-14.
Nice.
So
Okay.
finally got off the monkey off the back, so to speak.
Very nice. Well, Matt and I played a game of 40K. And me keeping to my Dark Elf theme for the weekend, as you'll notice soon, I brought my Drukhari. And Matt, what'd you bring?
I brought the Emperor's Chosen, his Custodes.
That's right. He brought some bullshit.
Some bullshit.
Bullshit.
You mean a unit of bikes and a bunch of troops?
Yeah. I mean, technically, my Drukhari list isn't it's a witch theme list. It's not what could be the most powerful list, but that's because I don't like the most powerful lists for that army. But my Drukhari. So we deployed, man. We had a good time. Did we even put objectives down? I don't think it mattered. Oh, we did. We did. But we both knew.
We weren't keeping score. We'll go that far.
Yeah. But I mean,
we're like, this is where we were supposed to go. Don't worry about other points. I'll just move along.
So Drukhari, the way I run my Drukhari is I have 1 plant. I spend a lot of CP, and I attack you, top of 1 or bottom of 1, whenever I get to go. It's like, boom, I'm in your face with as much as I can do, and I either kill enough of you, or I don't. It's kind of like the shooty thing that you went through, but if I don't kill enough of you, I have a lot better invuln saves in combat. So unfortunately, it takes longer to realize I've lost. But I shot my shot. I did some respectable things. Like there's a couple places where I overperformed, but there's some key places where I underperformed. And Matt took it on the chin and said, "All right, my turn," and I had to stand there and take it.
Present balls.
Yeah. And they smacked me across the face.
Now I will say, like, I know you were kind of like, felt like you were getting trounced on.
It's because you were rolling every 4-up save and 5-up save.
It's that table, man.
It is. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't do a single fucking wound to you. It was, and like I was having a lot of attacks going through, and it was just like still like you're like nope. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yes, please, your perspective of the game. I had a good game.
Like,
I had a good game, but
almost. Yeah. So again, for perspective, I'd like to point out that my last game, which was last year at Adeptiwont with Dave,
Gene Stealer Carls.
He might have taken, he may have taken a Custode off the table.
Right.
Yeah, he's playing Gene Stealers though.
Yeah. Well, he did a lot of Crossfire.
Yeah,
but so with this, like, I was not used to losing almost every model I had on the table until my Terminators came in.
Oh, those Terminators are rough. Oh my gosh.
Hell yeah, man. Those, I can't even. I don't understand. Like, again, from what little research I've done, everything points to them being like overpointed and they're just a little underwhelming. And I'm like, okay, sure, I'll believe you. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I definitely think it was closer than you thought it was, because one Custode can't do all that much, together Custode strong. Like, that's
I did like the moment. I think Cole came down, like we were at the top of 2. And he's like, how's it going? And me and you both looked at him and said, I'm losing. We both thought we were losing. It was because like I wasn't used to not killing my opponent outright, and you weren't used to losing as many models as I actually killed. But like,
I wasn't used to losing any damn models. Now all of a sudden I'm like, I'm from a 5-pack down to a 2-pack, and I'm like, okay, all right, I don't know what we're gonna do here. You need to last 3 rounds. That's
over at my end. I'm looking at that going, ooh, I needed to kill that, otherwise I was about to lose my whole unit, which happened.
Yeah, this was as there was a underlying professional wrestling theme for the weekend there. This was definitely the unstoppable force versus the immovable object.
Yes.
And on this day, the immovable object was not moved. That was.
It was good. It's like I said, it was fun taking out as much as I did, but yeah, it was just. Ooh, you made so many clutch saves that it was impressive.
Yeah.
Like I can only applaud you, and I'd just like you, I'd rather be lucky than good. So I wish I had those saves on my end to have had more models left. But like it was,
You had an insane amount of saves yourself there, good sir.
I did, but not enough.
I'm like, okay, here's 8 at Rend 4, and you're like, I saved them all. Oh, nope, never mind, I failed one. I'll take a guy off. I'm like, okay, that's 48 damage. And you're like, well, this one guy's dead.
I think what hurt the most is my heroes is where I had terrible saves. So like my Succubus and Drazar, you're just like, Drazar lasted because he negates damage down a little bit, but like you took those off so quick, and any one of those is just as powerful as any one of those units I had. So like having the wombo combo of those would have been good, but it's like I said, it is what it is. I had a good time. I got to drop the Void Bomb, which was exciting before the tank got run over, or before the plane got run over by bikes.
And what, your plane blew up, and that did a bunch of damage.
Yeah. Oh, that stupid banner! Your stupid banner, Custodes. This one, when I realized I was losing, I'm like, I am killing this guy. I am killing it. He's gonna die and explode. No, just never killed him. Killed so much everything else, but couldn't kill the one thing I decided I wanted to kill.
So I know 40K has too much rules bloat, but I think they could afford to have one more rule whenever it comes to exploding flyers. Instead of it just doing the normal blow up like a vehicle thing, it should be you have to move it, and everything along the pathway is part of your explosion.
That would make that'd be fun.
Yeah, make more sense.
Because it's like, you can't turn it 90 degrees, you can't stop it, you can't do any of this stuff. Just keep it going, man. Just keep it going.
Yep. That'd be fun. It was good. It was fun getting Drukhari back out. I haven't played them in a while. I'm kind of itching to play them. I got a game with Alex Saturday. I'm gonna bring him back out. Just have some fun. So see if they can take some vengeance for those Tau. Yeah.
Well, there's going to be more as we get into it. He took care of Cole in 40K. Alex did.
He did. But we'll move on to the
Who
next.
I would like to point out, Alex was also on the Big M Power Hour, so I'll count that as a Big M Power
Oh.
Hour.
He's been on.
You're
He
reaching,
was. He
man.
was
You're
on.
reaching.
He was on this show before Big M, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, but he was on the Power Hour show last, so
That doesn't matter.
Go clean your room.
I did ask him to come on. I asked him to come on tonight. He couldn't, unfortunately. Otherwise, he would be here to regale us of his trouncing of Cole from the Big M's Power Hour on behalf of the Strength Hammer
Well, from
team.
what I understand, Cole pulled a Neil in that game and kept half of his army off the battlefield turn one, expecting to just drop down. Then realized very quickly, much like I did, that's an error.
So anyway, game 4. We're cruising right along.
All right, maybe I should jump back into
Yeah.
the one I started.
Yep.
Yep.
Bring
So
it
yeah,
back
so
up.
we're cool boys. We had to, like I said, we both had kind of a gotcha moment in this. So I deployed my entire army in the boat, the big ironclad. I moved the ironclad, and we were in that stepped kind of deployment. I'm forgetting what the scenario was. Had 4 objectives on it. I don't remember. But anyway, I was pretty
abandon all hope.
his lines, and he wins the roll off because I have about 1 million drops in this army. And even though they're all in the boat, it's like 2 things are out there. It's like, how did I lose deployment? Oh yeah, like everything's in the boat. And he actually forgot that like half my army was in the boat. That's the benefit of playing Caradron against somebody who doesn't play AOS a lot, is the fact that like you just see the boat, right?
Oh.
You forget that there's 1,000 dwarves in the boat. It's just a boat.
Just
right?
a boat. Yep.
And so he lined up his crossbows. He actually took first turn because he looked at that, and I'm sure. And this is what Terry said to me. He's like, I looked at that, and I'm like, I'm going to take first turn because you're in range of my crossbows, and I'm going to just melt that boat off. Like there were 3 mortal wounds for any 5 or 6 rolled. It was 3 mortal wounds. I was just like,
Yeah.
He's like, excuse me, 3 per? You mean 3 total, or you mean 3 per? He goes, 3 per. I said, so 15 mortal wounds. He said, I said 15 mortal wounds. And me being an idiot, I did not have the gun hauler close enough to at least get the 6-up ward save. So yeah, he took my
You didn't
20
deploy with the okay. All right, Neil.
didn't even deploy with it next to it, right? Because I'm like, I'm gonna fly up here, I'm gonna level this shit. And so I was just like, okay, so that's what that does. I see it now. And he's just like, yeah, that's why I only play 6 of these, because it gets a little bit ridiculous, to have more than 1 unit of these things, and I don't want to be like crazy, right? So he failed to destroy the boat, and he rolled some of the other dice. Some of his other damage, if it would have went through, would have probably finished the job, but he just got unlucky and didn't finish the job. So then I had 3 engine masters and 6 engine riggers in the boat. And I actually forgot that the engine riggers, I think, heal even better with an engine master on board. Or is that old?
Only with the one with the balloon.
That might be old edition. I had them all in there. So
yeah.
But anyway, so I just rolled it on the 5-up. We saved 4 mortal wounds, we healed 4 wounds through those guys, and then 9 wounds through the 3 engine masters. And we got everything but 2 damage back that turn. So yay!
I remember,
just like your Ilario.
Well, not to get ahead, while I was playing Mike against his Iron Jaws with my Daughter's Cane, Terry came up with beer in hand to lament about almost killing the boat just to watch it go back to almost full. And I looked at him dead in the eye and said, Neil has been waiting to do that all week to somebody. And he's just like, I'm glad I can help.
Yep. I'm like,
he's been waiting to do that since 2nd edition.
I mean, yeah.
So then what happened was now my boat's really close to just all of his stuff. So we took that mostly healed boat, we flew it up, and we just started having a boat party. We were having a boat party all over those cruel boys. And those we melted away the crossbows, we melted away that big bolt thrower thing. All that kind of shit was just dying left and right. I'm flying gun haulers over, I'm dropping bombs. I mean, I'm having a fucking blast. I'm not sure how much fun Terry was having, but I'm over there just enjoying the life. And then, of course, the turn roll comes. We roll off, and I win it. And I was just like, all right, let's keep this boat party going.
Let's heal up
So,
the pole and
I
keep
hadn't
on
yet
moving.
charged yet. I hadn't even done the charge with the mortal wounds thing. I went in with the charge. I'm dropping phosphorite blomlets. They only got 4 wounds out of that at that time. So, but then we charged in. We kind of melted one of his like war boss on the vulture thing. We destroyed his like that swamp monster guy that gives all the poison attacks and everything. And on his turn, he did get some. He charged all the what was left of his remaining army into the boat. He's just like, I'm taking this fucking boat out. And so he did a bunch of mortal wounds again into the boat, but not enough to take it out. And then it turned and did its thing, and that was a handshake at that point. So
there you go. Matt, how was your 4th game?
Sad.
Sad.
Sad. Wasn't a good time.
This was Ilariel's when Ilariel came out with their OnlyFans, right?
Yeah. So I fought Carl next, and don't get me wrong, Carl's an amazing player. I like playing against him. He's a great guy. We had a lot of scoffs and whatnot. There was a lot of tomfoolery, but the match itself was about 15 minutes long. I tried to do everything I could. I literally put every single unit on that table against Kragnos. I did 2 wounds, I believe. And then he killed... So in one turn, he killed my Tree Lord that I had set up as a screen. And then after that, the next time was when things got real, where he killed my Tree Revenants, my... Arch Revenant, my Bug Flyer, my little Bug Boys.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Why would you screen Kragnos with a monster?
I didn't screen Kragnos. I screened the side so I could get into Kragnos without having to engage all the giants.
Okay. All right. That sounds suspicious to me. That's like that's the last thing you should do. But go ahead.
But so then he killed all that stuff and Ilariel all on top of turn 2. I had nothing left, and we were like, okay, you win.
Well, no. So I love the picture of Kragnos and 2 giants surrounding Ilariel, and that's where the OnlyFans comment comes from.
Yes. It was. I mean, he attacked with one mega and brought her down to 2 wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
She's like, if you want to see how this ends, join my OnlyFans.
Yeah, it was pretty abhorrent. It was a Brewhammer level loss.
Yep. I know those well.
Like I said, great time with Carl. Not a great time rolling dice.
I keep telling people, like, I get it, right? If you're a good player and you're trying to win a tournament, you're trying to go 5-0. I get it. Giants in this edition aren't going to do that for you. I get it. But if you're trying to win 3 games,
Giants can do that
and go above 500, that's the army you take there, buddy. I mean, you're going to have at least a little bit of fun in the event. I mean, because you're going to ruin some people's lives.
Yep.
Because
that's one
they
thing.
are still Giants.
It's. I mean, they have one plan, and it's deploy and run up in front of you and kill enough of your stuff that you mathematically can't win. And like I said, it's like my Drakkar list. It either works or it doesn't. If it doesn't, oh well. If it does, haha, success.
Yeah. Timmy army.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I've played it a couple times in this edition, and like, again, to me, I just can't get the rolls off. They lowered the amount of attacks to increase the damage, which thematically I like, but whenever it's actually in practice, I'm not a huge fan of, because whenever you roll 3 1s and there's no re-rolls, there's no bonuses, there's no nothing, it's just, okay, your turn's over, move along. And then on top of that, there's so many battle traits that are dependent on Galician champions.
Sure.
Yeah, like I said, you either mathematically beat your opponent before they can outscore you, or you don't.
Right.
That's
they can score pretty good for like the first 3 turns, and then after that,
right? Because like their battle tome battle tactics are also god awful.
Yes.
So like, no, and then on top of that, the one thing I feel bad about, like bringing them to an event right now, is like your opponent can't score battle tactics because you don't have enough GCs to participate in that space at all. So like opponent is going to lose out on how many battle tactics they scored. So if that's part of the score,
Yeah, you're just running
the
around
score building in the
you're running around going, you can't win
right,
this event. You can't win this event. You can't win
right,
this event.
right.
I love that.
Oh,
Spoiler.
5-0, huh? Welcome to third place.
Unless they're a Daughters of Cain army, in which case most of our tactics are good and capable from the book.
Right.
And then we can
Right.
still max out on any army. Let's see. Well, my game for I got to play Mike, which was exciting. He
That's
had his
why here. That's where you go.
what?
Tell GW that in the next edition, Giants should be able to throw rocks at things that are in reserves.
That'd be funny. Anti-beast.
Can you
beast
imagine how
army.
many people that would?
Piss
They'd be
off.
so fucking mad.
Listen. The more you say that idea, the more I'm like, that'd be fun to do.
Like, if you were within 12 inches of a battle edge, throw rocks at something that's not on the table.
Beast of Chaos never get to deploy. Their entire army's dead before they can actually.
Every unit of Canary gone instantly. Oh my goodness. But so I got to play Mike and his Iron Jaws for my game 4. I forget what scenario. We rolled randomly in a scenario, and it was one of the ones that you'll never see at a tournament, like a GT.
We are the champions or whatever that is.
I forget, but it was fun to play something different. But we deployed, and I was using my newfound thing after Brewhammer, which is screens. So I was screened up for days, screened for days, and I got to go first. He gave me first turn. I'm like, okay, not a problem. Thinking through it, I decided top of 1, drop my Canary, add extra screens essentially because I could score the battle tactics. He couldn't get both of them. I was just like, it won't. Usually I try to get 2 battle tactics with my Canary. It's like, okay, I can get 1, but I can still score everything else. It's fine. So the way the scenery was held up, I had 2 cauldrons, 2 units of 30 witch elves, 2 high gladiatrixes, and unit sisters of slaughter for 1 screen, and the new Underworld's warband for another screen, and then 3 Canary in the sky. So it was like kind of like pretty even split on the forces. Dropped the Canary between all the objective, caught every objective, and also blocked everything. So he'd have to kill them to get to me. And he did, more or less. I mean, he had Mighty Destroyers, so you get to move and do all this other shenanigans, like how fast an army is. But I screened well. And then he played kind of conservative with his Maw Crusher and like kind of his back line for a turn. So I was like, all right, well, I can't stay conservative.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, but it actually was a pretty interesting choice because I couldn't stay conservative for an extra round. So I split my forces, but I could do it pretty well. But I took out all of his piggy boys. So like really his main thing that I was afraid of that was left was the Maw Crusher. So like, okay, but I got rid of 2/3 of what I felt was a threat. Needless to say, the counter punch from the Maw Crusher was pretty rough, and he was able to take out a whole unit of witch elves just like that. But what was really interesting is after that first turn, he killed all but 1 Canary, and I left 1 Canary in the middle of the board. I was like, screw it, here's nearby. We're inspiring presence. She's gonna stay because I didn't have anything else to do with that CP because it was bottom of turn. And that Canary continued to be the biggest pain in the butt for his entire army. He tried to move. He tried to, it got me Desecrate, so it actually got me that second battle tactic that I always go for. And it was on terrain. It was one thing. He went to go try and move his Maw Crusher in, like within 3 inches. I was like, you really can't do that. He's like, why? I'm like, because my Canary's right here and you're touching it on that move. So he had to back up. So he had a longer charge. Which then meant his other hero had to retreat back to give his Maw Crusher room because the base was so big. So it was back and forth, back and forth. He had some double turns, some great saves, great game, absolutely fantastic. Mike's a great opponent. It was a very fun tactical game. And then we're down to the very end, and I needed to kill his Maw Crusher, and it's like, okay, so I got the turn, I'm pushing through. I got down to 1 wound. And I was like, my lone Canary that you have not killed, that you keep ignoring, is going to throw her 1 spear. 3s and 3s, -1 for 1 damage at you, sir. It's like, okay, so boom. Or actually, it was like 2s and 3s at this point. So I was like, boom, hit, boom, wound, -1. And he's on a freaking 1-up, 2-up, whatever it is. rolls the 1, takes it out. We're just like, both of us were just like throwing our hands up, high five, and it was the most exciting thing. He's like, you mark that model, you put an orc skull on that model, she fucking deserves it. It was like, we had so many hype moments in that game. It was so good. And I marked it with a silver pen. It has a nice little skull, orc skull trophy thing on its base now. It's wonderful. Fantastic game. I managed to take the win because, like I said, I was able. As soon as I took off the Maw Crusher, he put his hand out. He's like, I can't touch you at this point. Like, I was already up on points. He was not going to catch me with what he had left. So it was a fantastic game. So hype. So many hype moments.
It sounded like the best game of the weekend. It just sounded that way in the basement. It sounded like the best.
Oh, you could hear us down there? Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, it sounded like you guys were having a blast. Yeah.
There was a really funny moment. I was calling him a cheat. Like, it was all tongue in cheek. He put his Maw Crusher into my screen of the Underworld's Warband, and he tacked with something else first, and I tacked with them, and I did like they're legit 100 points. They can put out some hurt with their weapons. I did 7 wounds to his Maw Crusher.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, and he's like, Chuck, I forgot to do the stomps and stuff. I'm like, go ahead. And he's like, so if I kill it, do I take those wounds off? I'm like, yeah. And he killed him like instantly. Like, they're not survivable, but like, he crushed them. That's why I was like yelling, like, Mike's cheat. I was yelling it down the hall. It was legit. It didn't really. It was an easy fix because nothing else was in combat with it. But like, I was like, I'm impressed that those things did so much damage. So, if you're a Dodge game player, check out the Underworld's Warband. Don't sleep on it for 100 points. I was treating it as a screen. It might be a nice little side assassin piece, possibly. It's 6-inch Paladin. I think that could be Hero Hunter. And if it's going to die, treat it as a screen. But I'm impressed with that unit. Which is saying a lot because I didn't playtest that unit, so. Sorry, gotta take the credit where I can. No, great game. Like I said, hypest game I've had in a while. Took the win, close game. Great. Yeah, and then we had some pizza and we went into the final game of the event. So Matt, why don't you take us through the 5th game of what game did you play? It doesn't matter what game you played, Matt.
It doesn't matter what you played.
I played Parabellum's Conquest,
which is why we don't. Okay, now go ahead. Who'd you play?
I played Cole.
Okay.
Which means another Big M Power Hour win.
By the way, this is in direct violation of the pack.
Yep, sure is.
Well, that's why I'm a Maverick. Okay, I don't know if you've picked up on that yet. So I had it was very entertaining. So in secret, I had picked up the last remaining 2-player starter set from my local store, Fabricator Forge.
Why don't you tell me about you need to tell us on your next Big M's Power Hour. Tell the story of the gentleman you met playing Conquest the day you bought Conquest. Okay, not here.
Oh, we will
save it for yours. Okay.
But so I built it all up, which took for fucking ever. I wouldn't think I was going to actually finish building the damn thing in time. But so the Spire side has a big monster that does not fit in my case. So I put it just in a box. And so whenever Alex and Chuck came to get me, they're like, "What's that?" I'm like, "I don't know." And just put it in the car, and they dropped it. Like,
yeah, they're like, "Whatever, it's a piece of crap. He wants to bring it."
So then we get there, and then again, no one really cares. Neil's sitting there. He's like, "What is that?" I just go, I'm like, "It worked the last time. I'll try it again." I don't know. And so he's like, "What do you mean you don't know?" And then all of a sudden he goes, "I know what this is."
That's fucking Conquest.
But I did let Cole know that I was bringing it, and he promised that he would get one game in with me. And
a quick aside, so I was surprised. I didn't realize how big the scale was of that game.
Yeah,
it's much bigger.
Like I said,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I actually like because it has a little bit more room for detail, and I feel a little bad bringing those armies specifically because they're really not indicative of where Parabellum is with their model quality. These are literally like the first 2 armies that they put out, the first 2 kits they put out for the first 2 armies they put out. Like, they're not that great, but they're a small company, they're building. But the game itself, like I said, I've watched basically every play on
Play on
bat rep,
tabletop. Yeah,
and right, and it looked like a lot of fun. I read the rules. It seemed like a lot of fun. Actually, getting it on the table, it was actually more fun than I thought it was going to be. And I know it's a little blasphemy, so I apologize in advance. But like we've all kind of gone over our criticisms of Warhammer Fantasy,
sure. Yeah.
of the current rules set and everything.
No,
So for me, like
yeah,
one of the big
yeah.
things was, one of the biggest things in general, because it's an older system, and all the old systems were like this. Fantasy wasn't the only rank and file back then, but they all pulled from the same pot. But one of the things that kind of is on the negative side of things for me is kind of the restrictions of movement. Um, wheeling, charging, all that other stuff, and they kind of, and on top of that, then the if you deploy wrong, you're done. Conquest fixed these things, like, so whenever you activate a unit, they get 2 actions, and literally one of the actions you can do is just rotate, just move however you want to be. And so movement is much more free. Everyone's movement is much higher. I think the smallest movement we had on the table was 5 inches. And then you can even move twice instead of like wheeling. So you can just go 10 inches. If you have a banner, you can add 1 to the second time you move. And then on top of that, instead of putting your entire army out at front, at the beginning of the turn, you pick 1 model to come in, and then you roll for your other units to come in as well. And then the further up you go is the further up your units can start. So it's an interesting system. I'd like to actually see how it plays at 2,000 points. They kind of do their best to just kind of like, they don't worry about points. They worry about like balance. And so I think this is like close to like 550 versus 700, but the box is balanced. I mean, like, I thought I was winning the entire time, and then Cole just got the leverage in at the right place at the right time, wiped everything. Like, everything was dwindling, and he just like pushed at the right time, wiped everything off, and ended up winning.
Sounds like a loss for Big M, actually.
Well, no. Cole is
he's
the co-host.
Yeah, so
he's the co-host on the Big M Power Hour, so he won, so the show gets a win. That's
I don't think so.
Yeah, too bad.
And on top of that,
and actually, as far as the pack's concerned, the game never happened.
And I introduced him to the game, and I ignited that fire in his heart. So that's 2 wins. So that's 2 wins for Big M's Power.
Listen, you just should be happy that Neil became a softie.
He was willing to play.
Because Neil told me to give you both a double loss, and I did. And eventually he went back on it and said, no, it's 1-1, give him the win, that's fine. So, just saying.
I'll tell you what was really funny. I forget if it was Saturday or Sunday. Again, I always woke up, so it was me and Neil for a little bit. And I was like, we should pull out Conquest and just play ironically. And so that whenever you come down, you'll freak out.
Yeah.
And he actually didn't mind the idea so much. And then
we should play Conquest with MCP characters in it for no reason.
But
Chuck said.
What I thought was funny is, like, we didn't even have to go that far, because you came down and then Neil looked at you and said, this Conquest doesn't look too bad. And still.
If we were playing Conquest with MCP characters, like, I think it would throw Chuck into a depression so bad for like a week.
Oh my gosh.
He would have just walked home.
Yeah. Taking my toys and I'm leaving, mate. It's actually kind of fun. Like, the more I'm just gonna keep leaning more into the bit as you guys are. Just because it's funnier this way.
Yeah, no, like I said, for me, if you guys want to play Conquest, you don't have to play Conquest. It's there's a pretty big presence at Fabricators, and I'm
with
excited to get involved
brain
with
cells in total.
Hey, they had a 30-man tournament recently.
Whew.
Wow.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Just the people I met were not indicative of the.
Okay,
the
all right,
event
yeah,
there.
that story. Check out next Big M's Power. Matt will tell the story. He'll leave names out, obviously, but it wasn't an
Yeah.
impressive first batch of humans playing that game. But okay, there's a better scene. That's cool.
Yeah.
Neil, what was your last game of the event?
So my last game was against Mike, the Destructor, with
Yeah.
his Iron Jaws
It
again.
was fresh
So
off a loss. He was coming for blood.
fresh off a loss, a close one, but a loss. And I'm feeling myself with my Caradron. I'm like, these buddies are invincible.
Yep.
And then he deployed his army. And so this time I sat down, I explained everything that my army could possibly do, because I felt like I gave Terry a little bit of a feel bad on that one, and I wanted to make sure that was not going to happen again. So I was telling, so here's the deal: my boat's going to eviscerate anything it hits. Okay, it's just going down. If I touch that Maw Crusher will die. Okay, is that 6-up ward is not going to save it. Okay, unless I roll real bad on those 4-ups, which, by the way, for once in my life, that was not happening on those mortal wounds. Every other scenario during the entire weekend, absolutely, but not on those mortal wounds. So he also played very conservatively against me. He gave me the first turn. I felt like one of the things players will have to watch out for with Caradron, if you're as new to it as I am, and you're playing in a similar fashion where a lot of your stuff is in boats, is we played a scenario where the objectives activate one at a time. Okay. And because of that, when you have an army that's much bigger than yours, you can dictate a lot more of how the game is going to flow. In a way, you have the initiative during the entire game. So he gave me the first turn, which meant he got to pick which one was active. So he picked. So I had deployed my, my entire army in the boat over here, and he picked the one objective on the other side.
Right.
Okay. So, which you would do, right?
Yeah.
So I flew my boat up there. I scored. We got 4 points out of it, which was max for that turn, right? He took the next turn, eviscerated that boat. That boat was gone. One gun hauler down. And then he also got the double turn on me. So even though I was able to choose which objective it was going to be, which I chose the one in my deployment zone, since it's turn 2 now, it's battle round 2. It didn't matter because his army has so much movement,
right,
in hero phase and then regular movement with a run,
and then charge,
that he was on that objective, and I didn't have anything close or big enough to score on that after he went, right? So then I had to start thinking about how I wanted to try and chew through this entire army that's now been on the field for 2 turns that I've done very little against in my turn 1. Like turn 1, Caradron should really be pumping into somebody.
One
1
to 2 units should be dead.
You cannot hold back with that army at all. Every turn you have to be trying to maximize what you can do, because it is still, even though it's a lot more combat focused now and everything else, it is still a scalpel type army, and one that relies on maxing out what it can do. So I was way on the back foot in this game. He was holding his Maw Crusher back. I got the next turn. I got the double turn. I was able to score some points, but I'm behind the 8 ball. And then he double turned me back. So it was like a double turn, a double turn, a double turn. And at that point, I had actually killed most of his army. I almost took out his Maw Crusher with one of the Endra Masters with the hammer. I got through 3 attacks,
nice,
-1 Ren, 3 damage, right? And he failed like 2 of them. He's just like, pop, just brought him down to like 1 wound, but that didn't kill him. Like, didn't finish the job, right? So but then that was the end of my boat, and that was the end of all the rest of the stuff. And so I did actually kill a lot of his army, but that was not enough. Nearly, that was all moral victories. That was the game was well out of reach, and so that was Mike's first victory of the tournament.
Nice.
I know he left the tournament very happy after being able to pull that one off. A little sad for my character.
Oh, it's so sad his internet decided to crap out on.
Yeah, see, now if he would have put Grudge Bearer on one of them Ender Masters,
you're
he
right.
would have won.
Yeah, he would have been much better off. He would have taken it. Oh well. Well, Neil.
What an idiot!
He's back. He's done pouting. He's done pouting, everybody.
Where'd you guys lose me?
Matt, why don't you tell
You
us?
losing.
Yeah, you losing.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
you
lost.
losing. So I was gonna ask. You'll have to watch the playback because that was pretty funny timing for you to come back there. But what command trait did you go with?
I went with Grudge Bearer.
Ooh, Matt just ate all of his words from 20 seconds ago.
No, I said if you would have taken Grudge Bearer, you would have won that with that Endrin Master. But who'd you put it on? You put it on the other one.
Grudge Bearer was on the guy in the dirigible suit.
Yeah. Neil doesn't have an
and
admiral
he
yet,
so work of him on charging in. He just went and just stomped him to death.
He has an admiral. I just have it right here with me. That's all.
That's true. It's true. Until he gets that admiral in his hands, he's going to make poor choices with Grudge Bearer.
Yeah, when the Maw Crusher comes in and does its like power stomp,
it's so
he just
brutal.
power stomped my general right into the earth. So,
so my final game, I got to play Carl, and he had his giants, and I had my Daughters of Cain. So I was like, all right, had a nice win with Daughters of Cain. Let's see if I can't repeat. Every time I play giants, though, I'm always concerned. It feels like I'm going to just die. But a little bit spoiler, every time I played Giants, and I checked, I have never lost to Giants with Daughters of Cain.
Pretty sure I beat you with Giants once.
You crushed my Slaanesh hard.
Slaanesh.
Yeah, which is a similar thing, but minus that ward. Yeah, I've never lost with Daughters of Cain.
Similar thing, except for a little more moaning.
Yeah. They like the pain. So he took top of one, moved up, and I made the conscious decision, fuck Kragnos. He put Kragnos in the center, and in the way my army's built, I have two strong forces that can act independently, but they need to stay together. Like, the two forces have to stay together. Cauldron, High Gladiatrix, and the 30 Witch Elves. And then Canary do their thing, Screens do their thing. He hit Kragnos in the center. It was kind of in the way of terrain. I said, all right, I'm just going to ignore Kragnos. So my first round, I went against his one giant with my completely buffed up. Every single buff was on a unit of 30 witches with two with paired knives. And meanwhile, I took out pretty much all of his babies that he had, which was only like 2 or 3. Took them out, no problem.
2. Only had 2.
2? Okay. Yeah. And one of them I killed like the rest with Canary shooting, which was remarkable. But there was one time, and this was his general giant that had like the 6-up ward bounce back. I'm rolling out all dice, and I was like, Carl, you have 60 saves at -2, 2 damage each, because of I was playing Drake to Ganeth and all the buffs. It was ridiculous. He's just like, what? He lived on 2 wounds.
Wow, that's insanity.
Yeah, he bounced stuff back, and then he didn't kill me though. I had like 6 girls left that I managed to save. So like it was like, oh. and then it was like, okay. And then thankfully, I got the double turn going into 2, and the Canary shot off the giant with what was left.
Now, I'd like to point out that if you were Kraith, you would have been able to attack again and finish him off.
Yeah, I wouldn't have lived with Kraith though. I don't think, because I wouldn't have done all that rend and crap.
I would tell Kraith you said that.
Also, the his giant ignored rend 1, so I had to get rend 2 through on it.
Yeah.
Although it was the rend 1 shots that he failed a couple saves on for me to kill it with the Canary shots. Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I took my defensive with the shield into the other giant, took that out. And then then he came back in. His Kragnos came up the center and started eating through like what I had left in the center, and it became cat and mouse. And then going into turn 3, we tied on the dice roll, so it meant I got to go to prevent the double, which was exactly what I needed because I just moved all the Canary I had left. Sisters of Slaughter was like 3 of those left, and I just everything in between me and Craig because the rest of his stuff was dead or was about to die. So he's like, okay, like turn 3, he's like, yeah, you have 7 screens between me and your only unit that can do something, and I have a feeling that's what you're going to leave in front of me. I'm like, yeah, Kragnos has to eat through all that in 3 turns, and I'm just gonna keep maxing my points here. And he's like, okay. but like his counter punch was absolutely brutal, and it's like I can still see how like you need to kill a giant. If you don't kill a giant each turn, you're in trouble. But thankfully, Daughters had still have the DPS, so I took another win. Good game. I think it was my second time playing Carl. Might be my first even. I don't recall, but good game. It was fun getting to hang out with him a little bit there, and then packed up the army. And I guess we'll do.
Carl's a great dude, but he Carl refuses to play anybody he hasn't vetted or hasn't been vetted by somebody he knows that he already plays.
That's true.
He does
Smart
not
man.
get himself into games that he will not enjoy, and so he had a great weekend. So it was nice for him to get out and play some different people.
Yeah, he doesn't get to play too
that
often.
that were vetted.
Yeah.
Although he might not want me to play Daughters of Cain next time with him because, like I said, when I told him how much damage he
Carl
had to
doesn't
save,
care.
he was like,
Yeah, if there's one person who starts to approach John in chill factor, it's probably Carl on this.
yeah, he wasn't too stressed, and like I said, he was keeping pretty close. It wasn't until I killed his like giants and screened Kragnos to death that it was like well, there's still a shot. So it was good time. But yeah, great event. I was excited to do the opposite of Brewhammer and go 4-1. So I was pretty pleased with that. But yeah, that's my event. Neil, as the TO, it's up to you to give out the award update here at the end.
I had my classic 2 and 3.
Yeah.
That is, I should tattoo it on my forehead.
Matt, what was
But
yours?
I did, yeah. So Chuck took down we had a little trophy 3D print of a dice. You got it there? Show it off?
It's snug in the trophy case. It's all tucked in.
Oh,
I forgot.
boo!
I'll be right back.
Bad planning. So Chuck did take home the trophy. Chuck also took home. So we split up some. These awards were just printouts of. They didn't even come in fancy frames this time because you jerks can put them in frames yourselves. How about that? Spend your own damn money. And so he won. He was the Warhammer Fantasy champion as well. The 40K champion went to Alex. The let's see, we had so that was 40K. That was fantasy. AOS champion was there it is. Look at it. Gorgeous. And so the AOS champion actually was split. It was I won 2 games in AOS as well as Chuck. So the Strength Hammer podcast took home the award for AOS champion. However, I did play a practice game. I'm just saying that should probably count for a half. So that probably should have made me the sole winner of that award. I digress.
I can go throw it away, Neil. Just cross out my name. I'm not. If you want to take that win, I'm not going to be upset. You're the TO still.
I have no idea where mine is. Who knows?
To be fair,
it'll get put up on the wall. So.
To be fair with this, me and Alex tied with the exact number of wins because we were just caring about we were doing 20 nils essentially. So me and Alex tied, and the only tiebreaker, much like every other event that we've run between these type of fun events like this, tiebreaker was just pure random. So
yeah.
So after we tied, the app's like, Chuck wins. I'm like, okay, cool. Of course so, yeah.
Yep.
Isn't that convenient?
Hey, at least I can say, much unlike all of the elections we've had, there's been no Russian interference in my victory. Because
I don't know. I mean, Alex tied you. I mean, that's
okay. Fair. All right, sure. Yeah, I know.
My house is probably bugged now. That's why the internet's been going out.
Oh, there you go.
Neil's now on a list. That's
Great, perfect.
No. So what
But
awards?
no,
Well,
I had a blast.
yeah. Did you say the
Go ahead.
fantasy and 40K awards? Did I miss those?
I did. I went through those while you were gone.
Okay.
I was just going to say I had a blast for the weekend. It was everything I had hoped it would be. You know, the next morning, we did not play any games on Sunday, and I kind of figured it might go that route because you guys came in Thursday night, and we had 2 full days. And while we didn't stay up late and smoke stogies and drink whiskey like I thought we might,
Yep.
everybody was pretty tired at the end of each night.
I really wanted to see my wife. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, it's full day's worth of fun.
Not to mention
Dave, who couldn't make it.
We were full of chicken, pizza, and barbecue at this point.
Yeah, and whiskey,
beers.
beers. Yep. The beer was flowing like wine.
It was.
If I could steal a Dumb and Dumber quote. But Dave was unable to make it to this event. Unfortunately, he got the who knows, the itis before the event and was unable to make it. He did come out Sunday about a half an hour after you guys left, and we hung out at the house and just chatted and bullshitted for a little while. And I was able to get him his 3D printed fantasy army, so he's got that at home now. He got some of the other various stuff that people dropped off for him.
Shout out to John, by the way, because he brought almost all of us a Warhammer fantasy book that we all needed.
Yeah.
So I mean, God bless that man. And they were shrink wrapped.
Just dropped it.
Yeah.
Some of them, a vast majority of them, I might add, were still in the cellophane, and I'm like,
I'm excited.
This is incredible.
I'm excited, Neil, because I saw you grab the dark elf one. I'm curious to see if your
Dark Elf.
Yeah, you grabbed the dark elf one. I saw.
I am now back to stage 1. I have the 2 armies I had before.
Yeah.
I even got the Storm of Chaos book he dropped on me. So that's the thing.
That's
now.
good.
So,
I mean, listen, I might have some extra witch elves that were probably yours that I could.
Magic.
Yeah, Storm Magic. But I might, maybe I'll send a few more witch elves back your way that you sent to me that I repainted and sent back.
You keep those elves, sir, because I'm going to 3D print something that looks a lot better than that.
I don't know. These are pretty awesome, and plus I have so many.
But also, speaking of snagging interesting army books, I saw you grab the Lizard Man book.
So that was thanks to John. I already have every single 8th edition fantasy book, but one of the guys at the barn was interested in that army, and I was like, and I messaged John. I was like, if you don't want that, I know someone will. And I waited till everybody else to grab something first. And since no one was grabbing that, I was like, I have someone that could be a good home for. So it's safely in those hands.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's the love has been spread a little bit further than not.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how Lizardmen play in fantasy. I have no idea.
It's kind of curious because with the new sculpts coming out from the reveals, which we'll touch upon here briefly, it looks like a lot of kits are being like redone and upscaled, much to a good effect. But if you want to do a Lizardman army, you might want to buy those models soon.
Yeah.
Oh, if
for 3D print,
your friend is interested in Temple Guard and the Cold One Knights.
Mm-hmm.
I will absolutely take those things from my son's army and give them a better home because he's not playing them. And if he was going to play them, I'm going to buy those new models for him. I will not have those old Cold One models running around.
There's a small temptation because I have a lovely gift here from Dave that he gave me long ago. It's the old Croak model.
Oh wow!
It's he was using it for Sigmar for his, but I'm like, I could do a lizard. Like even after I was holding that book, even though I didn't need it, I was like, I could do a Lizardman army and put this in it. That'd be pretty cool.
Now, I will say I forget who it is, but I saw on My Mini Factory someone has a full STL catalog of Lizardmen sculpts that are.
Oh, there are Lizardmen sculpts that are outrageous.
It's not going to be hard. It's just a matter of like, do you want the GW sculpts or not? Which
go to My Mini Factory.
Yeah, like if anything, it's like there's a few things I'd want from GW, and this Croak would be one of them.
Mhm.
So if I start that, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not saying I won't start that army, but like it's, I don't know. I got a bunch of dwarves to paint, and then I'll worry about the next thing because like, I might get so hyped up, and
Yeah.
if Matt fails to do Seraphon like he's going to for Sigmar, maybe I'll pick it
Again,
up.
if in 4th edition they're top dog, yeah, we'll get that going.
Alright.
That's
Yeah.
we're gonna be meta hunters in 4th edition. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, there we go. So
Setting yourself up for disappointment, sir.
Up, Seraphon slipped into 2nd, and Zinch popped up. Whoop, starting a new army.
Yeah. Well, I mean, solid.
We're going complete scumbag. That's
so completely solid, wonderful event, Neil. Thanks for hosting and thanks for running it. I'm also
Nobody got the Rona, hopefully.
yeah.
Are we
Unlike
clear at this point?
Adepticon that I keep seeing, apparently everyone got sick there.
Right. I saw Vince. Vince like, whoo, you got it bad.
Yeah. I hope everyone feels
I was
better.
joking with Chuck.
Yeah.
I was like, Adeptiwont's full name was actually Adepta won't get coronavirus.
Oh, it's the wrestling memes that protected us. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what we do next time we all get to play together, which will be NashCon. Actually, before we get to the reveals, I'm excited because 3 of us are here and we're all KO fans. We all have KO armies, so we're gonna all sign up for NashCon. Hopefully, we all get in. I imagine we will. But we're all taking care of.
You gonna man up and sign up at 1 a.m.? What now? Huh? Are you gonna man up, stay up till 1 a.m., register as soon as it goes live?
Oh, I didn't know that was an option. I thought it was 1 p.m. in the middle of the afternoon. It's 1 a.m.
Well,
yes,
it said 12 a.m. That would be 1 p.m.
No.
Yeah.
A.m. is midnight.
No, 12:01. He says 12. 12 it doesn't. Let's figure that out.
12 noon is 12 p.m. Chuck.
Damn it. You're right. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah.
It's all right.
Anyway,
he's pretty.
Thank God.
But yeah,
he'll
make it.
So
make it.
We're assuming we all get in, which I believe we will. We're all taking KO, which if we get in, we're taking KO. We're going to have our own mini tournament within the tournament because each of us know there is no way in hell any of us are going to come close to winning any of the awards there because we don't have the fortitude, the urge, or the willpower. We are
or the ability.
Yeah, I think we could have the ability, but that's a lot of extra work we're not going to do. So we decided
Speak for yourself, sir.
We're gonna have our own little tournament within the tournament, and whoever places the best out of the whatever we decide, we have still to figure that out. We're gonna have our little written contract to see who's the best KO player amongst the 3 of us, and the winner gets the contract we agree
At the top of the contract, it will say results with games against a ringer do not count.
I'm gonna already put a footnote in there that says unless you're big M.
But I'm excited for that because it makes it more personal and already has removed the stress from that event for me. As far as like,
what are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm more stressed about this than I am about all the other ones.
I can beat you, Lug.
I can beat
W's now, man.
I can beat you, Chucklefucks, any day, unless it's 40K.
Dude, I'm gonna get on that bottom table
as long as it's
the shit out of somebody. Somebody's not gonna have a good game against me.
As long as it's not the table in the bottom of your house, Neil, I can beat anybody here.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yep.
No,
I'm on table.
Yeah, the smack talk is going to be real for our stuff more than anything else. We were going to think we're actually start hating each other, but no, I'm looking forward to that, and that's going to be a fun thing. So expect that and a ramp up of things to come. Like obviously before NashCon, I think the 3 of us will probably be on another Strength Hammer podcast, the best podcast on the Strength Hammer Network, to talk about.
Wow, unnecessary and untrue shots fired.
Oh boy!
Did those bullets have fake news engraved on the side of them right before they?
Oh, let me get the fact checkers on those bullets.
So here's just a real quick idea. What if the major prize is the narrative of our armies make it so we are now like bequeathed to you.
What do you? Maybe. I think I know what
So
you're saying.
like, so essentially like,
So
like,
it's like a prize, like a prize, like when two pirate ships, two ships fight, right? You take her as a prize. You know, it joins the fleet. I
yeah.
get it. Yeah.
Okay, how about this?
Yeah.
How about this? How about this? This could be exciting. We all throw money together. We buy a frigate. And we paint it up. And the winner gets the frigate.
For about the same price, I could have Carl print us out one of those giant Golmaraz hammers too.
That's what we need to do. Is we need to get
KO weapon or something.
Yeah.
Wait, anyway, before we dive too deep, we'll discuss
figure
this
it
on
out.
a separate off air and not bore people here. So real quick, before we get off this and close out the show, reveals from Adeptiwont. Lion, I am excited for as a Dark Angel player. I cannot wait. Beautiful model. Was not expecting him to be old, but I had zero expectations of what I wanted from that model, so anything was fine. Blew it out of the park. I can't wait. 10th edition, cool. It's supposed to be simpler in some ways. I'm all for that. Other reveals happens. I don't remember them.
Dinosaurs. I feel like that's what I just want to say about it's that guy from Family Guy, the weatherman, who just shouts one word. I'm just dinosaurs.
There you go.
All
right. We each get one word. Lion. That's mine. Yours is dinosaurs. Matt, what's your one word from the real show?
It was good.
Okay, perfect. Classic Big M taking
That's
4 times as long to say what needs to be said in 10 minutes.
Hey, I did it here. I swerved y'all. Your 40-minute little podcast, your little in and out bullshit. Nah, you're on camera. We're like almost like 2 hours in. Like
we are 2
I
hours.
Big Emified this shit.
We are 2 hours and 4 minutes right now, sir. So we are gonna end it here.
Woo!
So everybody, happy hobbying. Stay Stormcast strong. Check out Big M's Power Hour whenever it happens. I don't know. He sends me 2 big files. They go up whenever they want. Yeah.
Next Friday. Woo!